Okay, take two. Looks like my previous video didn't record, but that's okay. All right, so here we are. I'm currently in Fort Lauderdale in Florida, and I probably look like a madman. I haven't looked at myself in a couple days. I don't know, but it's really hot, and so I'm on board Camille and I's new boat. It's Shannon 50, and it was dismasted and damaged during Hurricane Irma, and been up for sale since then. And we came down and looked at it, and it looked like a project we were ready to undertake. And so we'll find out if that's a good idea or not. But it's a really beautiful boat. It's been it was lovingly maintained and kept up all the way until it was dismasted, I guess. And then there's been someone working on it and doing some great work since then. Anyhow, so I'm on board, and Camille, Dad, and Bill Owens are coming in about a week from now. And so my goal is to get the boat ready to be able for us to take it back up the ICW and get to North Carolina, store the boat in Duck Creek, where it's very reasonable, and work on the boat there. And so until we can get it hauled out of the water and thoroughly really inspect everything, we're kind of on edge, because we just, it's a brand new boat we're trying to figure out. And so the engine cranks up every time, which is awesome. And so I'm in the aft cabin now, and we've got wonderful engine access right here, and there's actually an entire engine room, which I'll take you guys down later. It's got a ladder and an entire compartment with all the fuel filters, just kind of the heart of everything right there. And so the engine's looking good, but the electrical system is essentially completely offline. There's a engine battery that's starting the engine. I'm not even sure, after I've been on board about 2 or 3 nights now, something like that. And so I'm not sure, after tracing all the wires. It's got 2 alternators, one to charge the engine battery, one to charge the house bank, which is everything except the engine and the bilge pumps. And I'm not sure that the alternator is even connected up to charge the starter battery. And so that means it's using its power to start the engine, but not getting it replenished. And so that means I might only have a certain amount of cranks left. And so that's been my top priority, because I want to be able to confidently run the engine and know that I can start it whenever I need to. And so I'm basically at that point where I've been working through all the wiring. And luckily the previous owner, I guess before Irma, I think his name was Kenneth, I've seen from the documentation, but he's a great man, because he left me an entire volume. There's 7 volumes. Let's see if you can see this index here of there's basically 7 volumes of stuff, and I'm in the electrical volume, and I basically have the entire treasure map to the electrical system. I just got to figure out how to read it. And so, for example, here's all this circuitry right here. Here's the layout of it, and then this is what I've been working off of, that shows the alternators, the 2 alternators, the engine batteries, how it's all wired. And that's what I've been kind of tracing along. And then here's a document that's working with exactly what I'm working on right now, which is the smaller alternator, its wiring diagram with the regulator, and trying to figure out if it's working. And everything I can see right now, it's all wired correctly. I had to replace one of the fuses that was blown. Maybe that was it. I mean, if it's a blown fuse that was causing all the problems, that's a massive gift, because it cost me, at West Marine prices, it cost me about $1.50 for that fuse. But that would be awesome. So right now it looks like everything's going, and I've got my handy dandy voltmeter. I think I left it in the cockpit, and so I'm getting all my readings, and I got my battery bank, and I think it's looking good. And so I'm going to double check, and basically everything looks to be wired correctly. And then I have what's basically the cable coming off the alternator to charge the batteries. I'm going to connect it to the current starter battery that doesn't have anything connected to it except the actual starter cables, and see what we get. And then I would turn my, I don't know if what can be seen here, but this is the engine alternator, 60 amps. This is a 200 amp that charges the house bank. It deals with this regulator. The other alternator deals with a second regulator that's right there. And so one thing at a time, get the engine going where I know I can charge it. Then I'll assess the house bank. The house bank is completely shot. It's I actually found it yesterday. It was I was just like looking at the engine batteries, like this just can't be it. And I was like, where's the battery switch? It's just things that are missing. And I started tracing all the cables, and it's all accessed through this big engine compartment, this engine room, and then it goes into the starboard side of the boat, and that's where the house bank is. And it's 4 big L16H AC batteries that are about 130 pounds each, and they're pretty dead. And but they're well wired. I could essentially, hopefully, plug in my new batteries and get it all working. I just want to make sure all the other pieces work in the meantime. So out here, there's usually a wonderful set of stairs that I took apart to access all this stuff. So the cockpit's normally cleaner too. But I'll give a better tour of the boat later. But Camille encouraged me to show some stuff while I'm actually working, which makes good sense. And so this is the port side of the boat. And this is the what I believe was the generator battery and the engine batteries linked together, I think. And so, or it could have been like, I think that's what it was definitely one was for the generator, one was for the engine, maybe 2 for the engine. And this is the temporary battery that the previous owner put in post Irma. And right now it's just these cable leads coming off, nothing else. And so, and you can see the generator down here. We'll work on that another time. Inverter, there's all sorts of stuff, but I just got to get one piece at a time working. And so right now I'm going to connect the alternator, you know, basically the charging cable for the alternator to this battery, see what happens. And then later, this is actually the access to the, we'll go down here later, this is actually the access to the engine room, which is awesome because it just allows for a lot of space. It's not for anybody that's claustrophobic, but anyhow, that's kind of where it stands. So I've been on board for a few days and trying to figure things out, but so far so good. I was able to combine the only working engine battery with the house bank, which is basically completely depleted, but I was able to turn on some lights and other switches and have them work. So I have some good confidence that it's you want to get power from your batteries to the distribution panel, which is your fuse switches. Then each of those are individual circuits. So I think the problem is on this side of the distribution panel, which would be great because I can get a solution to charge them, plug in new batteries, and we'll start seeing what works. And so one thing at a time. But it's Sunday right now, and so I got about, I don't know, 5 days left till everybody gets in. And so I'd love to have some lights on when everybody gets here, but we'll see what happens. All right, catch you later. All right, so here we are. I'm hold on a second. All right, so I'm getting ready to take my handy dandy badass voltmeter, multimeter down into the engine room, and I think I'm on the last phase of ensuring that the engine alternator is working. So it looks like it's one alternator that's designed just to charge the, let's make sure I don't fall into the abyss here. Okay. So let's go on in. Ugh. All right. So I actually don't know how well the GoPro is gonna catch all this in the dark, but I basically have everything related to fuel right over here. Still got a lot to figure out on all that. I haven't really messed with it or traced it because I'm working on, right now I'm cranking it and it works, so there's fuel in whatever tank it's pulling from, and that's all good. I'm worried more about the electrical side. And so right here, these are the back sides of those two alternators, the 200 amp, and we can't see the 60 amp there. I think it's right here. And so we're basically gonna be tracing this red wire all the way around, into where I've got a theory of one that comes out the other side. There's about 6 that are that same gauge thickness, so I'm pretty sure I know which one it is, and so we're gonna follow that. And if that's the case, I think I've pointed out everything in that circuit, and so I feel confident I can charge it. And there's just the 2 alternators is kind of throwing me for a loop, because it's just, I think they're completely independent of each other, but there's a few things that are connected between them, and I'm just not sure what or why or anything else. And I can't really find that in any of the diagrams, so I'm hoping I can just connect this, it works on its own, and then I can work on getting the other alternator working. It's not like the other one just takes its buddy down with it, you know. And so I still got to figure that out, but I'm hoping. And another weird thing is, I don't think there's a key on this boat. It's just you turn the engine battery on and there's a little start button. I can't find the key anywhere, and so if it's here, it's not a normal key, you know, it's some other thing, you know, that's not labeled, and everything's labeled wonderfully on this boat. So anyhow, I'd love to be able to, I should be able to turn the key on in a normal situation, see that the alternator regulator turns on, and take it from there. I can't do that without turning on the engine right now, so that's something to figure out another time. It's kind of a side thing, but anyhow, this is all pretty good. I don't even know if this is going to show up, but it's this is the back side of the engine room, and this is a DC fuse panel, which all the house bank stuff leads through. There's the generator, and then here's the back side of the engine, and it all looks all right. And so anyhow, I'm gonna keep messing with it, but I thought I'd show you guys this this space.